And as you see the logos there, on the upper right is our Dark Horse Manga logo that we put on all of our Japanese titles. However, this year, 2016, is also the 30th anniversary of Dark Horse in general, founded in 1986, same year as it is, actually. Did any of you get the chance to see the trailer for our panel at Stage Zero? Well, we're showing that, and I'll show it to you now. Now I don't have to say anything because you're all exactly. I don't know if there's anything to do about that. Is that a mixing board over there? Well, anyway, I apologize about that. So, as said, Dark Horse Manga was published in the 1980s. We began then. This time it was very kawaii, very genki. So naturally, we began with Godzilla. That was our very first manga we published in May of 1988. This was the manga adaptation of the 1984 Gojira film, done by Kazuhisa Iwata. It was the first title that we published. So again, Dark Horse started in 1986. Viz started in 1986. Viz published their first titles in 1987. We followed 1 year later with our first manga. As you know, we are a comic book company, one of the largest independent comic companies in the U.S. There you see a layout of combining our American comic books with many of our manga as comic books. And those of you who have been reading manga since the 80s and 90s know that all during that period, the standard way to publish manga was in comic book form. Now, in other words, you would publish 1 or 2 chapters every month as a comic book, and then you would collect it as a graphic novel. That, of course, is the standard way in which comics are published in the U.S. First the comic, then the graphic novel. It may seem like a rather strange way to publish manga, but first of all, manga sort of began in the U.S. in the 1980s as a subset of the comics industry. Everybody's heard of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles started originally as a self-published black and white comic in the 80s, and they were so successful that it created what was called a black and white boom. People were able to successfully do comics that were in black and white, and traditionally American comics all in color. Well, obviously Ninja Turtles took inspiration from Japanese work, and Frank Miller, who was really hot at that time in the first, it's the time of Dark Knight, first Dark Knight, Ronin, his Daredevil work, everyone knew that he was taking inspiration from manga as well. So between that, between the creators who were being inspired by Japanese work, and the fact that black and white comics were hot, that was what made it possible to first launch manga here. And as many of you may know, in Japan, let's see, kind of really late here. So, any of you who go to Kinokuniya will notice that these are the typical way that manga are published in Japan in anthology magazines. This is actually an issue of Sunday. Okay, you've seen a J drama. It's actually a J comedy called Oe Homo, Blue Blazes. Oh, great. So this is the actual manga that he broke into. And this actually contains the actual manga that you see in here. And it contains, I think, Tsurudachi as well. So those of you who know Rumiko Takahashi, this was where she made her first success. Urusei Yatsura ran here. But the point being is that a lot of these magazines are monthly. So publishing the manga as monthly comic books was not as strange an idea as it seems. Here you see not even the complete run of the most successful, longest running manga series in U.S. history, which is Oh My Goddess, called Omegami-sama in Japanese. What you see there in the back is all of the chapters of Oh My Goddess that were run as monthly comics. And you can also see some of the monthly comics that are in the foreground. And then stacked up in the foreground on the right and left, you see those books with the colored spines. Those were the original graphic novels of Oh My Goddess, back when manga were done in a westernized format. Something else I should mention is that it was very common for manga in those days to be published blocked, read western style. Again, the idea was to reach the comics audience, who were the main audience. I think it would be fair to say that it was comics readers who really began reading manga in the US, and they were the people who gave this initial boost. Then those most of the white spines there on the bottom and the front, those are the Japanese style graphic novels. And with this, with Oh My Goddess, it was literally the case that people who had been reading Oh My Goddess for 10 years in Western style. We suddenly had to ask them in the middle of the story to flip around and start reading in Japanese style. Some people, it was too much, but most people stayed. And I'm really grateful to them because they had, after all, been supporting this book for 10 years. They had done absolutely nothing wrong. They were big fans of it. And now suddenly we're asking them to read it, forward backwards. So I really appreciate the flexibility that was on the part of the leadership. As you might guess, I started editing manga in the 1990s, so I actually am from the era of floppy manga published in comic. By the way, this is not just Dark Horse. Viz published manga as flop comic books. Even Tokyo Pop started in the late 90s with that format. So we are a comic book company, and one thing to note is that it goes both ways. Our comics, we publish manga in English, but our comics are also published in Japan, licensed and translated in Japanese. Here's a Japanese page of Sin City. Here's a Japanese page of Hellboy. Here's from the Umbrella Academy. I was actually in Kinokuniya's mother store in Shinjuku in Japan when the Umbrella Academy had come in. And I was so excited because they were talking about it. It turns out that there are people who even do doujinshi in American comics. Some of you probably know that. This is from a American Comics doujinshi that appeared a few years ago. You probably can't make out the comments there at the bottom that are in Japanese, but what the artists there are saying is, quote, "I thought this was another Mignola-esque clone. I just picked it up out of casual interest. Upon further inspection, though, there seems to be some pretty deep stuff going on, and it looks really great. I say seems and looks because I haven't had a chance to thoroughly read it yet." And the Japanese artist who drew that piece on the right is the guy who created this series. As you may know, Panning Stock and Garterville, there's a lot of American references to it. There's references also to Slave Labor Graphics, which is a Bay Area comics company. And it's really cool. I was at the Trigger panel, Anime Boston, a few weeks ago. And so I went there, they were showing their new show, Space Patrol Luluco. And I went up to them at the end and showed them my card, and they said, Dark Horse. And I was so excited because here were people who were making an anime that I really liked, and they knew about a comic that our company liked. That's one of the great things about publishing manga in a comics company, because we can look at the Japanese creators, we can talk to Japanese publishers, and they know that we understand the things that they go through. In other words, they know what it is to start with a bare concept, to get artists and writers together, and turn that into a series, to have to make deadlines every single month. We understand, what it is to make creative works. And I think that informs our manga as well. When we release a manga here, we want to take as good care of it as we would hope that somebody would take care of our comics in Japan or any other country. So we publish not only manga, of course, but Japanese art books and novels. The work that we've done since last year is our Satoshi Kon. Have any of you picked this up? That's cool. Well, I'll show you a little bit of it. This is a complete guidebook to all of his works. Illustrations including from Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress, Tokyo Godfathers. So these are all actual double-page spreads from the book. Paranoia Agent, Paprika. This is Ohio, or Good Morning, a 1-minute short they did for NHK television. And we translated the entire storyboard, so you can actually see how Satoshi Kon thought as a filmmaker. I'm not sure if you can make out that text in red, but this definitely shows you that he works in the anime industry. You never have to give that instruction on American cartoons. It also contains images from works that Kon was not able to finish, such as the Training Machine. And how many of you remember an anime in video format called the OAV, or OVA? So back at home video was really big. It was common in many cases to produce original anime strictly for home video format. And whereas straight to video in America meant it was bad, often there were some very creative ideas that were coming out in the OAV format. These days, the kind of anime that would get made to OAV are generally made into television series instead. But actually, Satoshi Kon pitched some ideas for OAVs in the 90s that never got made. And we have some of the artwork here. So we even contain some of his just plain illustration ideas. Works like this, where he was working on things like textures and layering. And even Satoshi Kon went to art school. These are art projects that Satoshi Kon did for art school. This assignment, for example, was he had to design record album covers. Unfortunately, these don't actually exist. The music exists, but he made up these imaginary album covers. Okay. So in the back of the art book, there are 18 pages of notes, which we, of course, fully translated. And you see all Satoshi Kon's comments personally about his process. Something that I hadn't really thought of before, but kind of shows you how a director thinks, is he said the thing that he hated most about promoting his movies was he hated making the poster for the movies. The reason being is that he said that an animated film is not one single illustration. It is thousands of illustrations that I, as a filmmaker, made so that you would see them in a certain order, edited in a certain way. And he's saying, if I could sum up what my film was about in a single image, I wouldn't have to make the film. I would just make an illustration. And so I hadn't really thought about it that way from the standpoint of the director. So the book, The Art of Satoshi Kon, is full of insights like that. So if you're a fan of Satoshi Kon and you want to know more about how he thought creatively, it's a great book to pick up in addition to the beautiful illustrations in it. Blood Blockade Battlefront was mentioned. This became a highly acclaimed anime series recently. We were in an odd situation. Blood Blockade Battlefront is created by Yasuhiro Naito, who also is the creator of Trigun. We do the Trigun manga as well. However, when we released the Trigun manga, we released it after Trigun had already shown on Adult Swim. So everybody knew about Trigun. It happened the other way around with Blood Blockade Battlefront. We started releasing the manga about 2 years before the anime happened. And you know it's often the case that people have not heard about a manga until the anime comes out. It may just be my personal experience, but it seems to me it's very rare that you see somebody cosplay a manga until there's an anime. I mean, first of all, it may be tough to cosplay the manga because it's in black and white and you know what the colors are. Yeah, but also I think it really is true that a lot of people don't find out about a manga until the anime. Attack on Titan, I think, was not selling nearly so well, before the anime came out. This is a manga we just started doing, one we're very proud of. I'm a Hero is from another magazine from the same publisher, Shogakukan. The magazine is called Big Comic Secrets. I'm speaking to you as a former manga editor. Viz used to publish a magazine in the late 90s and early 2000s called Pulp. I don't know if you remember it, but it was a pioneering seinen manga. And I was the manga editor of that magazine. So I'm really proud that Dark Horse is publishing it because it's from Big Comic Spirits, which was the magazine that a lot of the stories in Pulp came from. This is also very important because there are 3 big manga companies in Japan. There's many smaller ones, of course. The biggest ones are Kodansha, Shueisha, and Shogakukan. And Dark Horse has published manga over the years from Kodansha and Shueisha. But until now, we've never published a manga before from Shogakukan. Viz usually publishes them. So it's a great honor for us. This is from the same magazine that manga like Kekon Concrete and Dance Till Tomorrow had. So this series is being released as 512-page omnibuses. Each volume that we are doing contains 2 volumes of Japanese manga. I'll show you the trailer for it, and hopefully it will not be as loud this time. Magazine, greatest zombie manga ever created. And I think humbly, he's correct. It's fully as good as The Walking Dead in terms of its plot and development. One of the things this manga realizes is that a zombie apocalypse will play out differently depending on what country it happens. Because if society collapses, if you're a writer, a good writer, you have to ask yourself, what was that society in the first place? Japanese society is going to collapse in a different way than American society because it's different things that are breaking apart. The main character, Hideo, one of the two main characters, he himself is a manga editor. And he was a manga artist himself at one point, but the series got canceled because people weren't reading it. So he's kind of bitter. Whereas in America, we're armed to the teeth, plenty of guns when the zombie comes. In Japan, gun control is very strict. He's one of the few people in Japan who actually owns a shotgun. And yet he doesn't do obvious things like sawing off the barrel because he thinks, well, what if society comes back to me? I'll get in trouble. That's illegal. But they're still trying to hold on to the notion of normal society. This particular work, those of you who are familiar with 20th Century Boys, it ran the same magazine in Japan, it had the same editor, and we're hoping that it will receive a similar amount of critical recognition. It also, we'll get into this a little bit more later, but the artist Kengo Hanazawa, he doesn't draw in the quote-unquote manga style. Now, those of you who read a lot of manga know that to say something is drawn in manga style doesn't really mean anything. It's like saying something is drawn in American comic style. Whose style? Darwin Cook, Rob Liefeld? It's like, but there is, broadly speaking, a certain cliche that people use when they mean manga style. But he draws all of his Japanese characters with what you might call realistic facial features. And he's very interested in human physiognomy. He understands all the musculature of the face, but it really makes it even more effective horror comic because his zombies are very much rotting and decomposing human beings. And therefore, what's more human than our individual face? Now be a zombie, be dead, have that face be swollen. He portrays all that. People we know as characters, and then we see them as dead people. They're dead individuals, but it's even more shocking and horrible because we see the transformations, decay and decomposition make. So Japan is also, of course, one of the most crowded societies in the world. Imagine being on a crowded subway train, rush hour in Tokyo, when the first zombie attacks. Imagine the panic. So he portrays that kind of thing. And people escaping out to the countryside, eventually this plague affects the entire world. So if you like a good story, if you like a really well-written manga story for adults, or even if you're just a fan of the zombie genre in general, I really think this is something you should check out. I saw someone actually, was a staffer here cosplaying as Psylocke from Blood Sea. That was pretty cool. We are continuing the series with Blood Sea Demonic Moonlight. The series is by Ryo Mizuki. It's a prequel to the main Blood Sea series. Those who are familiar with Blood the Last Vampire, you know that it began with that anime in 2000 by Hiroyuki Takako. That anime was set in a U.S. Army base in Tokyo in 1966 during the Vietnam War. This has a similar political charge to it. It is also set in U.S. base. However, this time it's set in 1946, which is the first year of the U.S. occupation of Japan. And there are a series of grisly mutilation murders that are happening. And of course, people are wondering, is this some type of uprising? Is it an insurgency against the American occupation? Or is there something more darker and more supernatural going on? This is a vampire series. You could probably guess it's a combination of the two, actually. Lone Wolf and Cub is our most successful manga series of all time. I believe we've sold over 1.3 million copies of it. That's rather amazing in its own way. It's true that it's a classic, but Lone Wolf and Cub came out in the early 1970s in Japan. It has nothing to do with the popular styles today, and yet people recognize it as a classic. And we had the opportunity recently to publish a sequel. The creator of Lone Wolf and Cub, Kazuo Koike, returned to it after 24 years. And how many of you read Lone Wolf and Cub? Okay, so the sequel picks up exactly where the original ends. And you know how it ended, and Daigoro is kind of left alone. He's still just a little kid, he's seen so much, but he's going to need a companion. So he finds a new Lone Wolf, a guy who has mysteries of his own. And those of you who love the original Lone Wolf and Cub, who love its rich portrayal of Tokugawa era Japan, and its complex political machinations and depiction of society, new logo for Cub delivers that as well. Dark Horse has released most of the Evangelion manga that Viz has not. Viz released the original manga by Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, which I was also had the honor of editing. But actually the most successful manga series of Evangelion in Japan by some measures is not Sadamoto's, it's this one, the Shinji Kard Racing Project. Sadamoto's manga ran for 14 volumes, this has run for 18 volumes. It's based on the premise of the final episode of the original television series where they imagine what would the pilot's life like if they were an ordinary Japanese high school comedy? You know, Misato was a teacher, and there wasn't so much angst and all that. So that would be very popular. So basically, this is the spin-off of that alternate world where all the Evangelion characters are much more happy. And I've been a fan of Evangelion since 1995, since it first came out. One thing I noticed about Evangelion fans is that they're very flexible in their ways of looking at the show. This is true for fans of a lot of series as well. I mean, there's an Attack on Titan series, which is also when they're in school, and it's not so grim. While people like the seriousness and intensity and emotional realness of Evangelion, they also are very fond and affectionate of these characters, and you can't help but wish they would have a happier life. So I think that indicates the success of this series as well. So one day, one of the people at Dark Horse plunked this down, explaining that her name was Saber and that she was best girl. I thought Balko-chan was best girl, but you know, Shusha knows what she's talking about. So we decided to publish Fate Zero manga. And this is something we're currently doing right now. I think I should mention who my favorite servants is, but I'll leave it for free for that. So I mentioned Kurosagi Corp's delivery service. The currently final of the omnibus, Volume 4, is coming out on June 8th. We're also collecting the Astro Boy omnibus for, and Volume 4 of that is coming out on June 22nd. I believe we'll be collecting the entire series in 8 volumes. Wandering Island is something that we're very proud of. This is coming out July 6th. Do any of you remember a work named Spirit of Wonder by Kenji Tsuruta? So Spirit of Wonder is a manga that Dark Horse published 20 years ago. It got made later into 2 anime. Spirit of Wonder, Miss China's Ring, and Spirit of Wonder, Scientific Boys Club. Kenji Tsuruta doesn't do a lot of manga, in part because he is one of the most respected science fiction illustrators in Japan. He has done the Japanese versions of Murder Bitches stuff, for example. If you remember an anime called The Skycrawlers, directed by Mamoru Oshii, that's based on a novel series, and Tsuruta did the illustrations. Those of you who are science fiction fans will know about an award called Hugo, which is given out every year at the World Science Fiction Convention. He has won the Best Illustrator Award 3 times from the Japanese program Hugo. Now here's one of the interesting things that we can do in this manga. This is the double-page spread. This is how those pages appeared when they were published in Japan. But as an editor, when I look at that, I can tell this is a grayscale reproduction of a color work. So we asked the Japanese publishers, do you have the original color file? And so we're going to publish it like that. So we're not colorizing it. This is how it's actually done in the original. So this is a case where we can actually improve on the Japanese book. You'll get to see the full color illustration. This is a story, by the way, if you are a fan of anime like Porco Rosso, that show the romance of early aviation. Japan, of course, is an island nation. Almost 98% of the Japanese live on just the 4 biggest islands. Most of the rest live in the Ryukyu chain, which is the one that goes down between Kyushu and Taiwan and Okinawa, and of course, those names to those. Only 30,000 people live in the islands of Tokyo South. Those of you who are from Southern California or are familiar with it will know about Catalina Island, which is a beautiful place off of Los Angeles. Well, Tokyo has an island like that too. But imagine if Catalina was only the first of islands that went for 600 miles out in the Pacific, and we're all together. That's the relationship these islands have to Tokyo. And yet there's only 30,000 people living there. There isn't much in the way of regular air service out there. So the main character, she operates an air delivery service. And she finds out her grandfather who taught her to fly has just passed away in the story. And when she's going through his old papers, she finds a package which is addressed to an island she's never heard of. And she knows all the islands there. So she starts talking to the local sailors, and there's a legend of a small island that people cite, but it's always in different locations and keeps disappearing. So that's a wandering island in the story. She becomes obsessed with it, obsessed with the idea that her grandfather wanted her to find this place. It ties in with phenomenon like you might have heard of, like the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, that sort of vortex of garbage that's in the middle of the North Pacific. We had something like that in Oregon, actually, after the great tsunami and earthquake happened in Fukushima. A year later, a huge concrete dock washed up on the Oregon shoreline. They treated it kind of like Godzilla, like a monster movie. They actually went down and hit it with like flamethrowers. The reason being is that it was probably carrying all types of invasive plant, and they have to use very strict environmental controls in Oregon because they, otherwise they can overrun your waterways and so forth. So we haven't gotten our time thing yet, have we? Let's see, I've got 5:42. Let's go on a little bit more. We published the Orimo manga series. A lot of people like everything about Orimo except how it ended. A lot of people hated that ending. So if you like that series, the manga has a completely different ending. And you might guess what the nature of that ending is by the title of the spin-off, Orimo Kuroneko. Kuroneko is many people's favorite character anyway. Some of you may be familiar with this game series. It was really tough to get all that blood out, even if it is fake. This is Danganronpa, and it is a game series published in the US by NIS America. It was also an anime from Funimation. We are publishing the manga series right now. Do any of you play Danganronpa? Well, the premise is basically there is a school, an elite school called Hope Speak Academy, and they only admit the ultimate students in Japan, people who are experts in whatever their field is, whether it's writing fan fiction or baseball or whatever. Except for one ordinary person, they admit by lottery. So you could say that person's ultimate in being lucky. But when he gets there, Makoto Naegi, right there, pointing his finger, he finds the school as a trap. Everyone in it is sealed off from the outside world, and they're all under the domination of this evil robot bear named Monokuma. And he tells them the only way to get out of the school is you have to not only murder a fellow student, but then after you murder them, you have to get away with it. Because as soon as a body is found, all the survivors are gathered into a tribunal, and everybody starts cross-examining each other. If you get the murderer wrong, if you don't guess who the correct murderer is, the murderer goes free and the rest of you are executed. So you can see it's sort of a high-stakes game. But it turns out that Makoto, although he's supposedly an ordinary student, he is a natural-born trial attorney. And his survival depends on him. The rest of the student's survival depends on him because he has to lead his fellow students to the right decision every single time. So I mentioned that Oh My Goddess is our longest running manga series in history. Now that it's complete, 48 volumes, we are beginning to collect it as omnibuses. Are those of you familiar with our series we published called Cardcaptor Sakura? So those of you who've seen that book or other Planet books we've done, such as Tokyo Babylon or Clover, this Oh My Goddess omnibus is in that format. In other words, it's larger than your regular manga size. The pages are about 6 by 8 inches. It's on higher quality paper. We do a lot of pure color. Even though I edited the entire series, I'm actually noticing things about the series in omnibus format that I never noticed before. And that's because we're using higher quality paper. If you start, if you have like a jeweler's loop, I know you all carry one, but if you look at like a page of manga paper under 10 power magnification, you begin to see that the paper, of course, is not really flat. It has a certain topography to it, and that affects the way the ink line is laid down. So sometimes, if an artist has very fine details, ultra fine details, they might vanish from the printing. So in this case, they're being restored. So continuing with Blood Seed, we are doing volume 2 on August 3rd. We're also beginning a new Clamp series. This is actually the series in 1989 where Clamp went pro. This is the first professional series called Riva Veda. It's spelled RG, but it's pronounced like the Indian legend cycle. So it's based on the Indian saga of the same name. It follows Yasha. He was once a king of a tribe, but his tribe was slaughtered and he couldn't prevent it. He takes up with a mysterious, genderless creature, with a ponytail there, named Ashura, who he decides to protect, even though Ashura is prophesied to kill him and destroy everything. But Ashura is so cute, that it's hard to avoid this terrible fate. I think often if manga characters weren't so cute, they wouldn't get in so much trouble. You know, they just get ignored and people would listen. So I mentioned the Shinji Ikari Racing project, which we are continuing this regular series, but we're also starting to collect as an omnibus beginning August 10th. We do novels as well. Vampire Hunter D is returning after a long hiatus, volume 24. Drawing with Heretics coming up August 17th. Those of you who are going to Anime Expo this year, the illustrator of Vampire Hunter D, Yoshitaka Amano, is one of the guests of honor, and we will certainly bring down all of our Yoshitaka Amano books. I think we published something like 25 or 30 different books. We actually have to look up, by the way, we all list a murder of crows. What do you call a group of heretics? We looked it up as a throng of heretics. We publish video game books as well as manga-related video games, and we are doing Art of Fire Emblem on the 17th. It will contain not only many full-page illustrations from the game, but also complete design work around it. The in-game events, the character illustrations, the concepts, an extensive look at all the weapon and accessory designs. The book contains the complete script of the game, every possible path that you put down. When we say complete script, we mean the complete script. I believe this is in 5 or 6 point height, and even so, it takes everything. So all dialogue. New Wolf and Cub, Volume 10, will be out September 7th. Asteroid Omnibus Volume 5 is on sale September 28th. October 5th is I Am a Hero Volume 2. This volume introduces our other main character, Hironi. Hironi, have those of you read Kurosagi's Corpse Delivery Service? So, a thing that place that features prominently in Kurosagi, it's a real place, is the famous suicide forest in Japan, in Izu-Hakone National Park. It's called Oita, also known as the Sea of Trees. Well, when people are trying to escape the zombie apocalypse in Tokyo, the main character, he gets out to the Sea of Trees, where he finds that there is this girl who's on a school trip. Now, because they're out on a school trip, they haven't heard about the apocalypse there. Her so-called friends, who aren't really her friends, they kind of dare her to go out into the forest in the middle of the night, find a dead person, take a photograph of it, and bring it back. So she finds this guy who's hanging from a noose, but then, of course, he starts to move, and she hasn't heard about the zombie apocalypse yet. And you can see the sort of the paranoia that goes in there. The artist, Kenko Hanazawa, is just as good at depicting forests as he is in city environments. Our most successful graphic novel in the last year period, I believe either American or Japanese, was Unofficial Hatsune Mix. Unofficial Hatsune Mix was a manga omnibus drawn and illustrated by Kei, who was the person who is Miku's iconic illustrator, the original designer. We are actually going to be doing another manga coming up soon, and this is by another creative team who is strongly associated with Hatsune Miku, Onkama. So the first Miku software, I believe, hit on Vocaloid 2, I think it was, on August 33rd, 2007. 1 week later, Onkama created what is perhaps the most famous Miku video of all time. So Onkama is a pet name. It's a combination of the music producer, Ultimania, and the graphic designer, Talabo. And some of you have probably seen this video over the years. It has over 14 million hits just on YouTube alone. It doesn't get counted for Miko. But I'll play a little clip for you. And yes, in case you're wondering, that is the exact same Miku song that's used in the new LG commercial with Jason Statham that came out just a few weeks ago, I think. You may have seen this too.
Get ready to play. The LG G5 with modular design. The first phone built for fun.
So Mika really has conquered the world. Did any of you go to see her in San Francisco? She was at the Fillmore not too long ago, I believe. Mika played the Energy Center in Houston, which is an 8,000 to 9,000 seat venue. So I can remember when there were only 2 Mika shows just 3 years ago in the U.S. And now she's just getting bigger and bigger. Have we got our time? I've got 551. Oh yeah, I knew that. I just want to see if you knew. Anyway, they have strict regulations, so it's not open to everybody. But anyway, so Nikuban is mostly black and white, like most manga are, but it also contains a bunch of various illustrations. So when Tama literally created the Hachi no Niku caricature, the leak splitter you see there. And as is the case with so much of Hachi no Niku, the Niku mythology has been built up by people who have done songs and fans who contributed to it. So yeah, now my favorite servant, writer, Alexander the Great. For those of you not familiar, the premise of Fate Zero involves something called the Holy Grail War. Basically, mages compete to summon the Holy Grail, which can grant a wish. They don't just fight by themselves, they also conjure forth from history the greatest warriors of all time. One of them here is Alexander the Great, the sort of, bear-like red-haired guy. One of the reasons I like him is that he's so unlike the actual Alexander the Great. The actual Alexander the Great was famously Bishonen. He was a young guy who conquered the entire world and died at age 33. He died when he was still young and beautiful. You'd think that avant-gardes would be all over that, but no, it went totally the opposite way. And he's really funny because when Alexander comes back to the modern day, the first thing he does is he breaks into the local library. He's there to grab two things: a copy of Homer's Iliad, because he never goes into battle without reading from Homer's Iliad, and he wants an atlas, because he heard that he conquered the entire world, but he has suspicions that maybe that wasn't true. So he opens a map of the world, and he sees what he actually conquered. He just bursts out laughing. It's like, that was all I conquered? Well, this time I'm going to conquer it all. So that guy there is the mage, Waver Velvet, who summoned him. Kind of a hapless guy who wasn't born into the aristocracy and doesn't have a lot of connections. But he's convinced that, he can become a great mage. So basically they go into a big bromance, with each other, and he teaches him a lot of valuable life lessons. So who's going to teach you more about life than Alexander the Great? And it's, I really like this too. So Ordering Will Chrome Neko Volume 6 will be the 10th. Ordering Will manga will be done, counting all volumes, because there were 4 in the original series and 4 in Chrome Neko. We're also doing an additional series, Comic Anthology, October 19th, which will be a jam work by 18 artists, including Sakura Ikeda, who is the editor of the original Ordering Will series. Reboot Beta, Volume 2 is coming out November 2nd, and I should mention, by the way, we are collecting the entire Reboot Beta series in 3 books. It was released by Tokyo Pop a long time ago in 10 volumes. We are combining those 10 volumes into 3 books, so it'll be a complete work. Also, by the way, the order in which we're doing the stories is going to be slightly different from when they were originally published. This was Clam's decision. They decided that they actually wanted to tell the story a bit differently. So some of the side stories that were here in the original release will be over here, but we are doing it exactly as Clam asked. We always be Clam's around. Psychopaths, something that I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with. November 9th, they're releasing this, which is a prequel to the original story, going back into Shinya Koda's early history. So there you see division 1 in the lineup. Psychopaths takes a lot of influence from things like Minority Report and so forth. But it's the idea, of course, that the people who are going to make the best cops are people who have criminal tendencies anyway. But if these tendencies can be kept under control, it's a future society which is supposed to be utopia because everybody is being monitored all the time. And nobody has a chance to commit a crime because if you look like you're about to commit one, they're going to take you out and arrest you or kill you. So you can imagine, however, the social price that's been paid for that. Yes, people are being assaulted and murdered nearly as much as they used to be, but at the same time, kind of, in a weird way, it reminds me of driverless cars. Probably 20 or 30 years from now, no young people even know how to drive a car because it'll all be driverless. That'll be great because that's going to be a massive reduction in drunk driving deaths, pedestrian fatalities. But on the other hand, there's going to be the skill which is going to be vanished from the world. I don't know. Everybody used to know how to ride horses too. That skill is very rare now too. So it was just the way science marches on. So those of you who wonder, whatever happened to old-fashioned manga, Ghost in the Shell and Akira, where people were being fried in radiation and their heads were exploding and all that. Psychopaths, can bring back those good old days for you. Volume 3 of Danganronpa is coming out November 23rd. Oh My Goddess Omnibus Book 5 is out November 30th. I guess you can see one of the reasons why this series is so popular. It's funny because covers in Japan manga covers are often complete lies. Like, Shinji and Rei and Asuka do not get along well at all in the story, even though it's a minor thing. But I've noticed that you never see fans getting angry about covers like this, saying, wait a minute, that doesn't actually happen inside. So what can I say? One of the things that fascinates me about the series of Evangelion fans is the fact that it has been so popular in Japan. So it tells me something about how Japanese fans view Evangelion. And it's weird because this series came out at the same time they started doing the rebuild films. And the rebuild films, they just get darker and darker. And this series just gets more and more lighthearted. So is it keeping things in balance in Japan? Would the Evangelion fans destroy themselves? You know, this internal tension? I don't know. It's fascinating. Volume 11 of New Lomo Cub is on sale December 7th. This, by the way, is a 12-volume series. One of our longest-running manga titles of all time, next to Oh My Goddess, ran for 16 years, is Wait the Immortal, and we are now collecting that as well as Omnibus Manga. One of the things that happened with Dark Horse about 2 years ago is we started distributing our books through Penguin Random House. Those of you who are familiar with the book business may know that it is dominated by 5 or 6 very large distributors, 5 now actually, I think, since Penguin and Random House moved together. And Penguin Random House is the biggest of them all. So this has been great for manga because we're now able to get our books into more stores than ever before. They're also really good at reaching independent stores. For example, if someone buys a copy of our manga at Barnes & Noble, Penguin Random House will make sure that the very next day there'll be another copy of that there. So they keep the process moving. And they're teaching us a lot also about book business as it is. Because after all, even though about 150 people total work for Dark Horse, in some ways, we're a small company. I'm the only person at Dark Horse who specializes in Japanese books. Of course, most editors at Dark Horse work on comics and occasional manga. We're very large in the product development section. For example, we do all the Game of Thrones products. All the figurines, the life-size accessories and things of that sort. But back to the Japanese, back to the manga. As for Omnibus Volume 6 is on sale on December